Good evening, YouTube. A late night video. Hope you all had a good day. Um, got a card in the mail today. This is be my 90th or so pre-war card. We're in that ballpark. Do you guys ever, when you search for eBay listings for like years of your expertise, you come across a name that you're kind of several times and just kind of jumps out at you, but you never think about it, but a name repeats itself, or you come across, or maybe you're reading about some old players and in numerous ways, or you hear a player's name in different books or different videos or commentaries. This is sort of happens with this one, especially now that this player shares his name with a current NFL coach. So I was like, you know what? If I mention this to somebody that is an old ball player that has the same name as this coach, that I should have some knowledge on it. So I was like, I'm curious. And so I read up on him and said, wow, he was a really good player back in the day. So I picked up a card of him. Who am I talking about? A forgotten star. Name is Joe Judge. When I searched for old cards, Hall of Famers for my collection, American Caramels and M101-4s and 5s and cars of 16s, 1916s and 20s. Even his last cards of 33 Gaudi, I see his name mentioned. His cards of him listed on eBay several times, and he's the namesake of current Giants head coach Joe Judge, which I have no knowledge of the Giants or him or the how they're doing or his backstory. But so I read up about Mr. Joe Judge and found out he was a good player. Joe Judge is a first baseman, mostly played for the Washington Senators. He debuted in 1915, and he played through into the mid 30s. Finished his career with the Boston Red Sox and Brooklyn Dodgers. He was a first baseman, one of the top fielding first basemen of the day. Was a big power hitter. You maybe tell by his card he wasn't a tall guy. He was like 5'9", so it's kind of a little bit shorter for a first baseman. Of course, in that era, he was largely overshadowed by perhaps the greatest first baseman of all time, Mr. Lou Gehrig. But Joe Judge was a pretty good one in his own right. Excellent fielder. By the time his career ended, he held or many AL fielding career fielding records and putouts and fielding percentage and other sorts. Wasn't much of a power hitter, but he was a career 298 hitter. He had over 1,000 career RBIs. Probably modern day comp is probably something along the lines of a Keith Hernandez or a Mark Grace, who are good players on their own right. This Joe Judge is an American Caramel 1921 E120 series, SGC 5. I think this is my highest graded card, my pre-war cards, if you're into such numbers. It's a stellar card. I got a pretty good price. Still find higher graded cards of this caliber at a decent price, so I thought I picked it up. 5% eBay bucks promotion going on, so I got some free money coming for cards in the future, next quarter. Also, Joe Judge's one of his most famous feats, I guess, would be he made a fine defensive play for the 27th out, Walter Johnson's only career no-hitter. He did was the first baseman of the Senators' only World Series team in 1924, and during that World Series he did bat over 380, like 385. So he held his own right. And one other fun fact about Joe Judge, him and longtime teammate Sam Rice of the Washington Senators, Hall of Famer Sam Rice, they played together for 18 years, and Alan Trammell and Lou Whitaker broke their record for most seasons playing together for teammates at 19. So Judge and Rice had the record for many years. Post-playing days, Joe Judge was a coach, manager for the Georgetown University for a couple decades. I don't know much about Georgetown University baseball, so I won't give you, but he stayed in baseball for many years. Some people say who saw him play say may have Hall of Fame credentials, but to be honest, uh, what people say is that in 1950 or so, he wrote an article in Sports Illustrated criticizing the Hall of Fame for having weaker players in there, such as Ray Schalk and Robert Moranville, and mentioned that Tinker's the average chance. Basically, the reason why they're in the Hall of Fame is because of a poem. So he criticized some weaker players in the Hall of Fame. So I don't think that it in himself endeared himself to the Hall of Fame for getting votes. But I kind of agree with Joe Judge. Some of those players are rather weak, and I think Tinker's average a chance. The only reason why all three are in the Hall of Fame is because of that poem. So there is Joe Judge. Happy to add this to my collection. Hope you enjoy the video and have a nice evening.